Good morning, or evening, depending when you're watching this. Camping day, and I'm off to a new location. Somewhere I've visited sort of on foot for a walk through, but never camped. As far as I know, Marc is there already. We have sort of loosely discussed it, and hopefully I can find him in this big woods. Right, let's get the site set up. I'll see you in a minute. Right, I'm not sure if you can make it out. About 75 metres in there, there's a giant beech tree which has been fallen. It's rotted out, and that is the area Marc said meet him. In fact, I think I just got a glimpse of him on the right, so I'm in the right area. Let's go find him. Right, we've found Marc. He's set up here right next to the big beech, as you can see. He's just got the inner of his tent up. As far as I know, he's just going to tarp over the top for a bit of airflow. Got a dingo dog down on the left there, sitting in the shade. And I'm just having a bit of a scout about, because there's actually not many flat spots around here, and I'm using a tent, so I want something sort of flat. I'll have a look. Right, I think decision is made. That's fairly flat. There's a few stumps in the way and one thing and another, but I think I can work around that. I'll put up the inner of the tent, because when it's a frame, it's a freestanding one, I can move it about and shuffle it until I decide completely, but it's going to be thereabouts. Well, I did consider using the inner only, but the weather has been so hit and miss at the moment, it's a risk. It's sunny and beautifully warm at the moment, but who knows? That is always a problem on the coast. You get the wind coming off the sea, the weather can change in a matter of hours. You can go from one extreme to the other. So I've stuck the outer fly on, but I've rolled the door fully open to get as much airflow through as possible, so hopefully it won't get too hot in there. And of course, if it should rain in the night, most of it's covered, and if this was getting damp, I can always shut the door. It's there, it's available. Again, it's quite open that direction. Got quite a bit of sun coming in, and it will be for the rest of the afternoon really. So I think I've got my camo net with me, so I might throw that over the top, just for that, that little bit of extra shade. And we're much closer to the footpath than normal, so yeah, maybe a case of every little helps. We'll see. Well, I'm not quite sure how you'll see in these light conditions, but you see I've passed the buckle from the outer fly where it clips to the inner, just through some of the netting there. I haven't pegged anything, it's just a rough bodge together. Right, for bedding, I've got my normal Nemo sleep mat and just the Snugpak jungle bag, which should be plenty warm enough, I would hope, for this weather. And hey, if it does turn really cold, I'll just put my jumper on, but that should be fine, I would have thought. Nice simple setup. Well, I've just done the laying down test in the tent. It's always worth doing, because no matter how flat the tent looks, more than once I've gone to bed at night and realised I was on a slope, and you just sort of like naturally end up sort of rolling against the side in the night, which isn't ideal. But it's actually fairly flat here. This little spot, I think I've been quite lucky. So yeah, it's past the flat to sleep on test. There we go, that'll do. It sticks out a little bit at the moment, but it's because it's so sunny at the moment. I am only about halfway to the footpath, and there is some thick vegetation behind me, as it were, behind the camera. So that'll be absolutely fine. As soon as that sun moves around a little bit, and certainly as it starts to get dark, I don't think there's any danger of getting caught here. In fact, let me turn the camera around and show you the other way. Right, this is in the same spot, just looking the opposite direction towards the footpath. And I don't know quite how well you make it out. Over there, you see where it's very green, where it's greened up, because it's a bit more open there. There's more grass and nettles and whatever. From me to that is about halfway to the footpath. It's that much again. And the footpath is also sort of just over the rise of the hill. So, no. Although we're within 100 metres maybe of the footpath, the chances of being spotted is pretty damn remote. Well, that's me all set up. It'll do. It's not the most glamorous looking thing in the world. The camo net isn't really sort of as camo goes, if you know what I mean. It's not really for hiding. It's more about a bit of shade inside the tent. Try and keep the temperature down a little, but it's done anyway. Right. Jack Daniels and Coke today. Cheers, people. Oh, and before someone mentions it, I sliced my thumb, back of my knuckle sort of thing, at work on Friday. And as you know, plasters nowadays just don't bloody stick. So it's a plaster then wrapped with insulation tape. Good old insulation tape. Alright, Mr. Mark is setting up the world's longest ridge line. Excuse the camera wobbling. I'll try and catch it, but it basically runs from just over the corner of that tree through here. Can you see him tying it off over there? Just because it was the only two trees in a straight line where he wanted it. We'll see how well that works. I have a sneaking suspicion it might sag a bit with the weight of the tarp on it being that long, but we will find out. Right, I'm going to have a wander in the surrounding area. As you can see, my little tent's there. Mark's just setting up his tarp over the top of his mesh inner tent there. Just trying to figure out quite how to do it. It's a work in progress. Yeah, I'm going to have a wander around down here. If I just pick you up a moment. Oh my god, that's gone dark. Bosh, there we go. I'm going to have a look down through here. That big gnarly old bugger. It's funny, I've sort of walked through this section, sort of, but not quite in this corner. So yeah, let's have a look down through there. Yeah, just come off that bank. I've dropped down onto one of the old access roads. If I pan you around that way, you see that's where we're camping, just up there a little bit. Also, as you can see, it's been many years since anyone's been along this road. More of the fir plantation over this side. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in this bit. Have a quick scout around if there's any evidence of anyone else being in here. It's always worth knowing if people have camped in this bit before. Well, it's all looking pretty good in here. No evidence of people even walking rather than camping, which is nice. There's one or two little sort of wet spots where you would leave footprints. No sign. Plenty of deer tracks, but nothing else. Good spot. This bit down here also. I quite like it in here. Be another one to try out at some point. Nice big monster fir tree on the edge of the campsite here. He's a big old bugger. Not quite as big as Big Red on the entrance, but he's still pretty large. Yeah, it's not a bad section of the woodland, this. I've walked through many times, but never really, I don't know, thoroughly explored, should we say. It is a big wood. You can only spend so much time in here. But there's got a variety of big old trees. If I go around that way, you can see all the debris from where the beach split in half and went down. One half of it's there. The other half of it ended up right up through there. So where we're camping is essentially straight through there somewhere. Not a bad spot. Not bad at all. Footpath is sort of straight through there. As I said earlier, it's sort of over the rise slightly, so sitting down at least, people wouldn't see us. Maybe standing up, they might see the top of your head, and that's if they were looking really, really carefully through the woodlands in a distance, but no, not a bad spot. Right, looks like Mark's got his tarp up. That's not blended in too bad. But I mean, for that exact location, sure, it could have done with being a bit greener, but that'd be absolutely fine, especially when that sun moves around a little bit. Bloody hell, Mark! What are you creating here? Migrant village? It's pretty.
I have no idea what it is.
It's pretty big though, that tarp, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sort of 3x4-ish, we reckon, don't we? Thereabouts. Interesting pattern.
Pretty big.
Now, I'm sure I've seen that sort of pattern before. One of the military patterns in Europe, and I can't remember which one. Not these colours, more greens and browns and so on. But yeah, if you recognise that sort of shapes, let me know in the comments. As for the dingo dog, right, Dingo, you're being very helpful there. I'm glad for, you know, all the effort you've put in and your input. You just lay there and take it easy. Oh!
It's a bit hard.
Not only is that hard, that's hurting my bad thumb. Well, I'm starting to get a bit snacky. Not starving. I never am when it's hot. So I'm just noodling it again. I did bring some proper meals with me if I got really hungry, just in case, but just not feeling it, to be honest. I mean, it's well, it's about 5:30, so I'll have the noodle now, and if I'm hungry late on, I can always have something else. But it's king pot noodle for starters. Well, I've lit the fire. It's roaring away nicely. I didn't bother filming the lighting of fire. You've seen me do that a million times. It's nice to have it going though. Don't need it for heat, but it will keep the bugs at bay, and it sort of gives you something to watch and do. Well, the sun's gone down behind the high trees now. It's still peeping its way through there. It does make quite a nice effect with the dark woodland and the greens and the sort of golden light. It's very pretty. I do like it. Right, Mark's just had the kettle on. So last coffee of the evening. He's having hot chocolate. But I've had to put my jacket on now. It's cooled down a little. But that's just me. I just feel the cold. It's still quite a pleasant evening, it really is. And where there's a big hole in the canopy here, we can see the stars as well, which is quite nice. So I'll have this. I'll see you at bedtime. Well, I'm in my tiny coffin. Not a lot of room, but it'll do the job. It's just to keep the bugs off me more than anything. So, I'll see you in the morning. Oh, morning. It's 7:20. Slept quite well actually. So that's what, about 9 hours sleep. About 10ish went to bed. Warm night. Was a very warm night. Even leaving the door here unzipped. Within sort of 10 minutes, I had to unzip all of the sleeping bag and flatten it out into a blanket. So I was laying direct on the sleep mat and just a blanket over me. Very comfortable. But yeah, slept all that time, so must have been all right. It's time for a coffee, definitely. Right, everything packed away, the bag's ready to go. So this has been the last bit. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.